Hello. It is Tuesday, April 4th, or April 13th, 2021. So, yeah, Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. This is the full body workout, which is part of the cycle 7, Chapter 1, Iteration 2 of the Yormish cycle, whatever workout thing, experiment I'm doing. So today, there was feelings of not wanting to do this. So what I did was I said, hey, yeah, you might not want to do this, but why not turn down what you have to do? So today is going to be less than yesterday. And it was basically an either or proposition. Would I rather have intensity tomorrow or consistency today? And I have this hypothesis that consistency is better than intensity, especially in the long run. And since this is a lifestyle, a fitness journey, if you will, I certainly hope that holds true for today. Anyway, just realized I forgot to take the garbage out last night. Like, oop. Oh, man. Ugh. But that's okay. So, yeah. So, chapter 1 is the premise, which is just a whole bunch of full body workouts. High on consistency. I get most of the parts of my body, except for my neck. I'm not working out my neck. I'll leave that for a specialty challenge day. But, yeah, basically hitting most of my body. And a lot of different exercises. Not turning up the intensity so much. And that's chapter 1. Chapter 2 and Chapter 4 are adventure weeks, which is a whole bunch of interesting things can happen. And then Chapter 3 is that consistent Monday, Wednesday, Friday workout that I was actually a long time ago getting good results from. But I think my body has adapted. My body really, really wants me to have a gut, and I really, really don't want to have a gut. So I think it's going to be a fun transition to see how long it's going to take to get rid of it, and if it does get rid of it. And so starting today, I am actually going to talk about what I ate last night, and that's going to really focus on the whole fasting and all that kind of stuff, and actually get that level of transparency that's like, okay, is it one of 3 things or a combination of things? Sleep, food, or sleep, fuel, workout. One of those things is off kilter because I'm not in the shape I want to be. So, anyhow, all right, so this is the public service announcement. Sorry it took so long to get to this, but please do not waste your time watching this video unless you have a very specific reason to watch this video. I mean, it should say this video, but, whatever. I like this piece of paper. It's done well. It's done its job. I'm not going to change it. At this point, I'm actually like, oh, there's some sentimental value there. All right, looking through, just going to discuss what's going on as far as the workout goes. All right, so my infinite notebook type thing. All right, so we start out with pull-ups and incline bench, then squats, leg extensions, leg contractions, chest machine, flies, and then pull downs, reverse flies, then dips, rocket chair, which is like a stomach thing. I gotta make sure I bend my knees and put my heels closer together, my toes outward. So there's an interesting angle there. Play around with that angle on those. I'm not going to do too many of those. Curls, standing skull crushers, chin-ups, which is palms facing me. Not too many of those. Rollers, planks. Planks I just use as an excuse to mess around with some sort of breathing. I think today's breathing for the planks is going to be 2 inhales and an exhale, all using my nose. All right, let's see here. Then there is calf raises and kind of what I consider the opposite of calf raises. Heels down, type double base type action. All right, then there's grips. Then there's the 3 full leg and knee ups, military press, push-ups. Let's see here. The push downs, which is a standing thing with using my back, and then there's push downs using my triceps, and then there's the bent back lifts, which is Kind of like single arm rows, pretty much. Lateral raises, frontal raises. Okay, so simple stuff. I wrote down the numbers and I lessened the numbers from yesterday. A couple other things I've been playing around with is transition times between exercises. Example, dips. Yesterday, what I did, I don't like the transition time for some weird reason. The transition time from going from a dip to going to the rocket chair, like I have to turn around and doing that, well, let's see, there's one transition getting into it. So there's one transition going into the rocket chair, then there's another transition going back into the dip, then there's another transition rocket chair. So 3 sets equals like 6 transitions. So what I'm doing in some exercises where there's too much of a transition is like this exercise I'm going to do right now. It's back and forth between pull-ups and incline bench. As a matter of fact, I should change my numbers for the incline bench, lighten the weight on that. Like I said, consistency more powerful than intensity and all that kind of stuff. And I certainly felt it. I feel a little bit sore today, strangely enough, in my calves of all things. I didn't go crazy on the calves, so go figure. Also did a lot of walking yesterday, or a lot more than I'm used to. Anyway, so just trying to figure things out, dial things in. Getting rid of some of those transition times seems to be a good thing. So like what happened yesterday, and probably what will happen today, is I do a set of pull-ups. Today I think I'm going to take it easy. Yesterday I was doing like sets of 3. I'll do like a set of 2. I already have it written down as a set of 2, so I'm going to stick to my writing. And then stick to the script, which isn't much. I mean, the whole thing about this workout is it hits a little bit of everything and a whole lot of nothing. No, a little bit of everything, and that way everything gets a little bit of splash damage in relation to each other. And the biggest thing I'm getting rid of is hesitation, because it's like, oh, that's easy to do. Why am I hesitating? And so it's not only working out the body, but it's working out the mind, and especially the emotional mind, as far as limiting hesitation. It's also a test where I can practice the fine art of keeping myself quiet and breathing and all that kind of stuff without going into any real breathing exercises, unless it's doing that plank thing, which is a small version of a breathing exercise. So a lot of exceptions, a lot of specifics, a lot of interesting things to be talking about, trying to get all of it out ahead of time before I'm getting into the workout. Now I'm just kind of psyching myself up before I zip my lips and go to it. Let's see some other things. Oh man, there was something else. Anyway, so transition times. What I'll probably do today is do one set of 2. I know it's minuscule, but you know what? That's me. Just doing not the bare minimums, but a little bit beyond the bare minimums, I guess. I don't know. I'm almost ashamed about the small set size and the lightweight and all that kind of stuff. But consistency more powerful than intensity. I just didn't want a day like yesterday where some of it was slightly intense. So anyway, so what I'm going to do is one set of pull-ups, and then do 3 sets of the incline bench, and then do 2 more sets of pull-ups. And that feels like a kind of a fun way to bounce around the transition times. Instead of doing a set of pull-ups, walk over to the incline bench, do a set of incline bench, because I'm not doing a lot. And as long as I take a break, a few seconds of breathing in between sets, I think this workout, the actual workout part, is going to be take up less time, and also get rid of some of that annoying transition time. I'm figuring that transition time is kind of my enemy in some ways. So hopefully this will do good stuff with that. Also going to straighten out this camera situation a little bit. I also got it now wide angle, and I'm so happy about the wide angle. Sure, things look smaller, but that wide angle is going to help me out a lot more in the end with certain things. So positioning becomes, a lot more options. Okay. Now that almost all that talking is done, I'm just going to put the incline bench in the right place and turn down the weights a bit. Then get into practicing the fine art of being quiet. All right. Wow, the recycling's even getting getting out of hand here. I don't produce a lot of trash, but you know. All right, let's see here. What was I about to say? Finish it off with a good message for me, for a future version of me, if I choose to watch this, is one foot in front of the other. These are the pieces that get me closer to the person I want to be. And and the big thing is limiting some of those complex carbohydrates. And also trying to be a little bit more transparent about stuff. And here's the moral dilemma. On Saturday, I actually bought chocolate milk that was cheap, a gallon of it, and that was like a cheap price, probably because it's close to the date. And it's just like, am I going to let it spoil? I also have some complex carbohydrates, sort of, green drink that's a lot of different fruits, like kiwis and banana and apple and all sorts of things in that. And it's a drink I enjoy a lot, from a company that I think produces really good stuff, but I've had that rot on me before too. So I've had both those things rot on me, and it's just like, I don't know, kind of the small problems that we have that we fixate on without focusing on the bigger problems in our lives and all that kind of stuff. Not that I'm in denial about any major big problem and stuff like that, but I'm almost embarrassed of my tiny little problems in comparison of talking with friends that have actual real problems and real issues that they're dealing with. So. All right. And what can you say to that other than just being willing to listen and wishing I could come up with things that are better suited to answers and all that kind of stuff. All right, so I guess the first thing I'm going to do, I'm set up in frame, so I'm going to do, before that, set of 2. Big set of 2. I'm going to make them count, I guess. What they lack in quantity, they're going to hopefully get in quality. Pull-ups. Do the 7 exercises that kind of stretch me out a little bit ahead of time. So wow, 12 minutes of talking. All right, I think I've psyched myself up enough. That's all, folks. Wow. All right, done. Time to maybe do a little stretch out like I wasn't doing yesterday. A little stretch out and a little talk. A little conversation, if you will. So I guess this is part of that hard 75. Let's see if I can finish this 32 ounces. So I got, if I drink 3 of these and 2 of these, I get a gallon a day. This is about 20 ounces. Sometimes I don't fill it up to, I guess, the ridge, whatever that line is. And so that gets, 40 ounces, basically, 2 of these, and 32 ounces, but 32 ounces is right about here. And I fill it up to the top, sometimes a little bit over, and just kind of get it up to there. So I'm guaranteeing at least a gallon of water per day. Right now, it's not gonna be too difficult. They already really drained this thing. So that hard 75 thing, it's day 2, and my diet's easy to stick to. It's a 16-hour fast at least. Sometimes I go into the realm of 20 hours. Who knows, I might go beyond that. I've done it before, so it's not too bad. Let's see here. Really? Apparently I've walked 0 steps today. Yeah, it keeps up with that 0. That's kind of funny. Oh. Maybe I have it on too tight or not tight enough, or who knows what's going on there. This just feels like a stretch just sitting here like this. All right, so what have I figured out today about working out? Sometimes the breathing and the exertion, it sometimes leads to almost a meditative state. I really like that meditative state sometimes. I can get lost there. It's a shortcut to meditation, I guess. I consider breathing exercises the gateway drug to meditation. And now it's so easy. Like when I was doing those planks or whatever with the breathing, there was a point I just sat down or kneeled down, and my mind just wanted to go to nothing. And it was without any effort of trying to go into nothing. So, and if you look at any individual exercise I've done on this, it should be fairly easy, but cumulative. And also I realize the weight of how I feel right now. Like I could think, wow, I'm really tired. I pushed out a bit. On a 1 through 13 scale, I'm thinking about 13 total exertion. I'm guessing about an 8 or 9. I'm really feeling it, really sweaty, just things are happening, good things. And I'm gonna associate this feeling with good things, like the progress, the way forward. But sometimes when it gets a bit frustrating, like you add up the negatives, and I realize that sometimes me saying, oh man, I should be better with this exercise, or I should be in better shape, like in certain ways that could be construed as a negative. I'm gonna switch it up as a positive. I'm gonna say I'm on my way to the gut. It's there. The video does not lie about it. The gut is there. And you think with not so diligently, but semi-diligently working out, periods of running hot and cold on the working out for the past couple of years, almost 1,000 days actually. Yeah, I would be better at it. I would be, in way better looking shape. I think in certain things I'm stronger, more comfortable with moving things around. And I realize it's also not about the numbers. Like today, really pay attention to the quality of the pull-ups. Paying attention to quality. That is, I think that's a real hallmark of long-term thinking. Like, could I do 50 push-ups with a whole bunch of cheating, not going all the way down, not going all the way up, make it look like a push-up, but not really. Not a full, complete good push-up. Yeah, if I want to get that number, if that number is something to my ego, but I'd rather go beyond all that, not make that number a gateway to my ego. The gateway to my ego is probably, if I have to have an ego, that level of consistency. And there's a duality here too. Some people think your ego is something you tell everybody else about. Some people think that it's something that you hide inside and you don't tell anybody about. And I used to be of the second group. Don't tell anybody of your strengths. Always be underestimated. Was it always be underestimated, never be outgunned? But no, I think that was the name of an album or something. Anyway. Always underestimated, never outgunned. But in this situation, I have kind of a middle road proposition. Me doing this here, this is my commitment towards consistency. And the numbers on the front are understood by me. The first two numbers is the year, 21. The second two numbers is the month, 04. And the third two numbers is the day, 13. The last two letters is significant of the day of the week, because it's nice to know. So it's nice to know those 4 bits of information. 3 in numeric form and 1 in alphabetical form. Oh man. So there's a lot of good things going on here, but yeah, the quality. Like noticing the quality difference. Trying to do, 22 fast, momentum-driven push-ups. Well, not actively trying to always bump your chest to the ground, but just doing it on your hands, not using push-up bars. Push-up bars seem a little bit tougher. And all these little bit tougher things, I think, lead to a higher quality sense of push-ups. Because what I want is long-term strength and capability. I don't want just strength from here to here. From here to here, I'm good, but if anything goes beyond here or beyond here, I could get injured. And I don't want that. So going after that long-term fitness that I want, long-term health span, living a long and healthy life, that is the major goal. It's kind of nice to think and feel that way about certain things. Be really on the page about it. And thank goodness right now I have the kind of life that is certainly, as long as I'm very careful, open towards me doing this hard 75. Who knows though? It might be just the hard 13 or hard 11 based upon like, hey, I might have other opportunities or different things that open up, and that'll definitely cut a lot of my time short. I couldn't imagine trying to do this and having a job that was like 51 hours a week or something like that. I mean, I could imagine it. I wouldn't want to. I've been in that situation before. I remember I worked at a job where I was working 7 days a week, and this is not an exaggeration. 1 year I worked, it was either 362, no, it was over a year, so it was 372 days straight. Sometimes I considered that a gateway toward madness. I don't think I was insane, but I was certainly getting close. I was doing weird things at work. I remember one of the things I thought was, with people that were not customers, the word of the night, or the phrase of the night. The best phrase of the night was ceremonial necrophilia. And the whole thing about the phrase of the night was trying to say it in polite conversation. So where I was working, this dude came in, and he was a drunk dude. I won't say drunk asshole, because I used to always think just drunk assholes, but I'm not going to paint him with that broad brush. I'm going to allow it could be whatever it is. I'm not going to live in that subjective reality, which is
kind of funny because I have a little story about subjective reality and how people believe their subjective reality is real reality and how they see things. Anyway, so that dude came in like, you night guys are weird. And maybe he didn't say it like that. I'm just adding a little bit of emphasis to his words. Maybe he did say it like that. I'm not sure. Not 100% on my memory, but I do remember it was something like that. And I was like, yeah, we are, but thank goodness we've cut down on the ceremonial necrophilia. And he didn't understand what I was saying. I think possibly his response was, what? I think he knows, like, the word necrophilia triggered something in his head, and then saying ceremonial. Anyway, it just put a little brain bug in his mind, possibly, hopefully, but in a good way. And he just walked out of the lobby and all that kind of stuff. So that was good. Anyway, the thing I was talking about, subjective reality. It's interesting when you run people through a filter. You hear someone tell a story and you weren't there, and they tell the story and there's all these extremes. And then you realize that you've heard them tell a story when you were there, and the way they talk about it is not the way you remember it. And it's just like, okay, I got to run a filter on this person. A friend of mine, we were in a musical type situation, and there was this guy that, for whatever reason, rubbed him the wrong way right from the get-go. So sometimes when somebody says words you don't want to hear, you start painting them with that broad brush, like everything's coming from that negative perspective. I didn't quite have that negative perspective. It was just like, wow, people are telling me things I don't want to hear, like, you should do this. And really, when we've already tried that one thing and it didn't really work out, but like they're convinced that that's the solution, instead of saying, yep, already did it, didn't work, instead of saying, wow, that's an interesting idea. There might be some merit there. And that's all true phrase because, hey, you've already tried that idea. If there wasn't any merit in that idea, you wouldn't have tried it. And in essence, telling, people want to be helpful sometimes, and sometimes that's fulfilling their ego requirements or whatever, happy social noise and all that. And taking that away from somebody, sometimes it's just not worth telling them the words they don't want to hear. So anyway, it's the idea of being contentious. And I catch myself into that role sometimes because there's certain pet peeves of mine. Like somebody will say always and never, and it's absolutely this way all the time, and they expect you to agree with them. And I'll say something like, I could see how that could make sense. The absolute truth. Do I believe that makes sense? No. Can I rattle off 10 different exceptions to that always or never rule? Sure, I'm creative enough to probably knock off a few exceptions to that rule, especially certain rules. It's like, everybody's selfish. Well, yeah, I guess if you paint selfishness with a broad enough brush, if you believe that a person only donates to a charity because they're after a good feeling inside themselves, and that after that good selfish feeling, and at that point it almost becomes semantics, but the semantics really lead themselves into subjective reality. So yeah, it's really amazing how much you can extend subjective reality, and you can really bend over backwards to make yourself the subjective reality as close to objective reality as you can. The amazing excuses and justifications people have about stuff, and myself included, about certain things, and I try to call myself out on some of my excuses and justifications, and sometimes even if they're 100% valid, still call myself out on it. I think there's an avenue towards new levels of creativity when you absorb an inordinate amount of responsibility for your own life and sometimes the lives of others. But do you necessarily need to believe it 100%? No. Use it as a thought exercise, if nothing else. Anyway, so example, at a musical situation, some guy telling us stuff we don't want to hear a little bit. I think, in retrospect, my buddy possibly painted this guy under a broad negative brush. And so the next thing he said is like, what I heard him say is, well, I'm an audio engineer. And that means, oh, well, I have some knowledge about this. In my mind, he wasn't pushing it. But that's also basically, in my mind, I almost give everybody a pass, because almost giving everybody a pass is that gets me closer to that goal of not taking anything personally. Even if it's like, I hate you. You are a disgusting and terrible person. And then the gateway for me not taking that personally is hearing it under a different context. The context is, what little I know of you makes me believe that you're a disgusting and horrible person. And it's very easy to say, well, that person doesn't know me that well. And then I don't have to get into that mindset of painting that person with a negative brush. And really, that's a fun phrase. Paint somebody with a negativity brush or negative brush. But anyway, I'll get away from that phrase right now because I think I've overused it. But seeing that person in that negative light, switching out that idea with that person doesn't know me, really allows me to treat that person with kindness. And I'd rather come from that, back to that whole idea of, is it more important to be right or be kind? Sometimes it's really important to be right. Like if you're dealing with somebody who's you're a mechanic and this person's a junior mechanic and they're really invested in doing this fix this way, but you realize that fix could crash the car, that moment, it's really important for you to be right and saying, listen, I see where you're coming from, and like try to see it from that other person's perspective if you have the luxury of time to do that, and then add your own perspective, and this is the right way to do it. And then put your reputation on the line. Like, I guarantee this car is not going to crash because of this mechanical failure, which otherwise you could have let it happen that way. And then maybe try to make the person understand that, but ultimately that doesn't matter nearly as much as the customer not suffering from a catastrophic mechanical failure leading to bad things. But anyway, so yeah, but generally I like the idea of when right doesn't matter so much, being kind. So anyway, that's the lens I was seeing this guy through. I'm running my own filter on myself. He could have said it with a condescending, oh, well, I'm an audio engineer or whatever. But I heard my friend tell the story, and I don't remember that guy using a very snotty tone. The way my friend told it, he was using a super snotty tone. And then I was like, really, did he? Because I didn't really hear that. And I'm good enough with my buddy. I hope when we don't see things exactly the same way, I can tell him about it without hurting his feelings. So he has enough emotional resilience not to be like, well, some people, if you don't see the same thing their way, or if you go through the same experience and like, I didn't see it that way. That is an easy way to offend the easily offended. Anyhow, so I was close enough to my friend, and he was emotionally resilient enough for me to be honest with him about that. But did I stick the point? No. I'm not invested in being right in this. I don't care about being right in this so much as noticing the differences in possible perspective and noticing that, like, I might have to run a filter on him. Anyway, so, like, the way he said it is the guy had a snotty tone. And then his mind immediately went to what I call building a case. And when you build a case, that is really something interesting, because he said, well, then he did this, and then he did this, and then he was like this, but everybody else, the contentions of everybody else is this guy was wrong. Or somebody else that may or may not be authority, but it is back to staking a case, So it's interesting how the mind works like that. Am I wrong in all this? That is an absolute and complete possibility. I can almost guarantee I'm not 100% right in this. I hope, well, I don't actually hope. If I'm less than 51% right, I hope the world gives me an education on it, a gentle education on it, and I can stand corrected afterwards. But anyway, it's just kind of funny. I don't know what got me on the subject other than just putting things in perspective and seeing if I can actually say something that makes sense to me later. Maybe I'll watch this video, watch some of these end parts, and watch for things that are like note to self or whatever. Probably a good time to do some stretching as well. So fun things about perspective in life and all that. And after this, I'm gonna go for a walk. Hopefully it'll be about 3 miles. Hopefully it'll take about an hour. Hopefully I'll be reading a really good book, and I might be able to finish that book in an hour. I'll see if yesterday was a fluke. Yesterday I read while walking at a speed that I previously was unable to read at and understand. Now, it'd be nice to be able to read at that speed and understand. Okay, wow, all right. Oh, stretchy stretch. Stretchy, stretchy, stretch, stretch. All right. Yeah, we'll do this one too. Do that whole like Wim Hof style thing. I don't know if Wim Hof invented it, but I think certainly was the first person to introduce it to me through video, of course. I never met the guy, but just like that's about as flexible as I get, but using that whole Wim Hof breathe in, then hold for a little while, feel the pressure. I'm going to really try to feel the pressure this time and use that pressure as a, when I'm breathing out, move forward. So. Oh, wow. Yeah, that really surprises me sometimes. Oh, that felt weird but good. I'm going to put that in the category of good. I think I have a choice on how I can feel about that one, tell you the truth. But yeah, the choice is I'm going to call that one good. It's so good, I'm going to do it again from the other side. Man, I must have stepped in some stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to mop this place down, but I'm going to at least get a rag or something and wipe it up and throw that in the... Wow, what the hell's going on with my leg? Whatever. Throw that in the laundry bin. All right, so so that was some lower body stuff. Let's bring this back. Oh, that's about as far as I stretch right there. See if I can bring my elbows closer to my head. That feels so weird. Oh, and there's this. Oh, that feels right. That feels very good. Let's go underneath the table. Stretches underneath the table. This bizarrely is one of my favorite stretches. Just putting those knees and elbows together. My knees are friends with my elbows. As you can tell by the single arm shoulder raises or shoulder rolls or what is that? Not shoulder raises or shoulder rolls. It's oh God, the one where I'm leaning over and I'm pulling back. Rows, single arm rows, not shoulder rows or rolls, but rows, just single arm rows. Maybe bent over. I think I call it bent back rows, but I know it's single arm. There's a whole bunch of naming conventions for different exercises. I still don't know if military press or shoulder press is the correct word. I don't know the difference offhand. I think maybe one time I learned it. Still don't know it. I still call the whole thing where I bring up a military press. But maybe when you're sitting down or in almost a straight back position or something like that, that becomes military press. I know that there's a difference. I don't know exactly which one I like better between standing up and sitting down. Sometimes sitting down doing those presses. Sometimes single arm military press is just great. Every now and then I'll put a weight that I'm kind of surprised about. Like, whoa, this seems a bit heavy. Let's see if we can do it. Do one arm, do the other. I'm not going to do that anytime soon because left shoulder's doing some tweaky things. I even felt it a little bit today doing the dips. Also felt it right in the beginning with the incline bench. But with a little bit more control and a little bit more of just me paying attention to it and paying attention to my form, it kind of really mitigated that left shoulder feeling, that discomfort. It's really kind of weird. Sometimes when I allow the discomfort, don't block the pain or whatever, just allow it to, hey, I'm listening to you. You're my body and I respect you and you got a message for me. Let me listen to it. All right, I'm listening to it. I need you to really, if you want to scream as loud as you can, get it out. I'm going to listen. I'm going to take this without judgment and really playing around with that subjective reality where my mind disconnects from my body but talks to my body and listens to it as if it's another character, and then reintegrating the self. So, because I believe we're people with lots of facets. I've seen people that are confident and insecure at the same time, which I didn't realize how common that was. A friend of mine or hope to be a friend. I know him a little bit, and I certainly hope he becomes a friend. Yeah, this guy, an amazing guitarist in a lot of ways. Definitely has a style that seems like somebody did not break the mold when Slash was created. I think this guy can do a lot of, maybe Slash is one of his mentors or something, but it seems to really come through in the guitar playing. Anyway, right down to the Les Paul or whatever, the guitar that Slash has, that his looks like that, and maybe I'm drawing conclusions that aren't there. I could be wrong, but and I'm certainly not a guitar expert, but man, it was... But anyway, so this guy, I remember having two different conversations with him. One, he was talking about, I was like, wow, it's amazing, you're editing video right after you did it. Like, that's pretty impressive. And he's like, yeah, it's just narcissism. Like, okay, you know, that's a cool little say. Like, someone asked me about my beard, yeah, it's just laziness. Really, it's not. It's really just some bizarre, like, hey, I like how I look with a beard. Wow, this feels like home. I know that the rest of the world likes it, and I know it limits me in a lot of capabilities with socially, but man, it feels like home. And that feeling of being at home in your own skin is kind of worth some of the sacrifices. At least it is so far. We'll see about later. If I get lonely enough, or if I get desperate enough, you know, for certain jobs or whatever, then maybe hopefully I'll never have to. I feel that's another thing I'm very grateful about, is I can look the way I want to look. I don't have to live up to some sort of military regulation or something, or Disney regulation. I think the folks that work at Disney have to look a certain way, from what I've heard. Maybe that's lessened in the last 10 years, but... So anyway, so this guy, he says something about me being narcissistic, and that stuck in my brain, you know. And I saw it as a joke, but I also saw maybe there's a kernel of truth in there. Then I talked to him later about, hey, wouldn't you do this other thing? I think it'd be really cool if you did. And he said something like, I don't have enough ego for that. No, he didn't say it like that. He would be like, I'm not confident enough to do that. Somewhere around the lines, either ego or confidence or something in between, but I'm totally paraphrasing and possibly misremembering. Anyway, yeah, taking that, you know, if I videotape stuff and I think about it a certain way and I notice the disconnect between what my mind sees and what the actual reality of the situation is, it's nice to be very cognizant of that fact. So I take my memory, you know, not at face value. Anyhow, he says that, and I said something like, wow, that's amazing, because I talked to you the other time, and it's like I got to see two facets of the die that is your character, the multiple sides of your character, this narcissistic side and this non-confident side. It's amazing, the dichotomy that you live with. There is something wonderful within your personality on that. You can experience from two radically different perspectives, which probably gives you a whole bunch of empathy for the rest of the world when you choose to kind of turn that on and focus that empathy out. And I said something like that. I don't recall what I said, but that was the paraphrasing, that was the gist. And maybe those were just words that meant nothing to him. Maybe they did, but if they did, I certainly would like to talk to that guy more. If they didn't, I certainly would like to talk to that gentleman more. There's certain people that I found myself really wanting to know more about. And I wouldn't use a word like attracted, because attracted has a sexual component to it, so I'm not going to say that. I will say, I really need to learn more about this person. And I've said that to people, and they're like, oh yeah, you want to screw her. I'm like, no, not necessarily. And I'll say the same, I'll have the exact same feeling about some dude. And like, it'll be the questioning glances, and it's like, no, none of these feelings are any sort of sexual attraction. These feelings are like, it'd be very easy for me to learn something worthwhile from this person, I believe. It wouldn't take a lot of digging. I think there's certain people in the world that it's really easy to find information that would just blow your mind. Whether it be a perspective, a joke, a story, some sort of history, an approach towards life, a philosophy, whatever it is. Like, wow. And I believe that's almost everybody I meet. Just as a given, I try to think almost everybody, when I meet them, has at least one piece of information that would blow my mind. My question is how do I get there? What is the best question to get there in certain situations? But certain people I know, like if they opened up, if I was the right person for them to open up to, not a huge amount. I don't want to know their life history. I don't want to know their secrets. I don't want to, unless they need that. If they need that, I'm open to it. Use my ear as your trash can. That's fine. But really easy for them, just like let me know something about their perspective on life. Because sometimes there's certain people that have just such an almost alien perspective that it's fascinating, and sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way. But either way, it's worth knowing because, hey, there's this life thing, and I don't want to go through this life thing completely alone. I want to see other people's perspectives, at least for a moment. And the good news is I can get that through reading a good bit. Reading is probably one of the best ways to get those perspectives, especially if a book is just one author. And, you watch TV, that's stories that are told by committee. So the edges are usually softened down, not just because of content restrictions, but because there's more than one chef that's making this delectable entree for your viewing and listening pleasure. So it seems like books have more of those edges that I like so much. The real raw things that sometimes I have trouble getting out of a movie or a TV show or something like that. Anyhow, too many cooks and all that kind of stuff. Too many cooks softens the story sometimes. All right, I've talked enough. I probably haven't stretched enough. I'm going to do one more stretch, both sides though, so I guess maybe 2 more stretches, like this one. Oh, there's something good about this. I don't know what it is, other than it might just be just a good stretch. I'm not going to try that breathing thing to get further into it. This is enough for me right now. Just sitting on the floor, doing my little happy stretches. Heard a bone pop or something. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's good feelings there. Oh, what was this thing that fell on the floor? Oh my goodness. Huh. So this is my friend's condom, and this is the condom I use. No, anyway. Dumb jokes. And yes, the trusty rusty $1 jump rope that fell on the floor that I rarely ever use as a jump rope. I use it as a blood flow activation device, I guess. Oh man, that almost sounds like if you read between the lines, it's sexual. No, I've never used that in any sort of sexual way. Blood flow activation device. With the wrong person, however, no, not gonna go into that. I am not into that game, even though I have played it before. Whew, wow. All right, that's enough of me talking. Sort of stretching, sort of feeling good. Now it's time to go for a walk. All right. Oh. Whew. I almost want to take a cold shower right now, but do the walk first, shower later. I'm probably not going to see anybody on the street, and that's fine by me. Wow, 1 hour, 37 minutes, 28 seconds. Whew. Later it shall be.